Welcome to Adventures in Accessibility, a podcast that explores the far reaches of disability, access, and inclusion, with your host, Emily Schumann.
VOLORES' debut album, Ages, explores universal themes of love, life, and death through dark indie rock, stylish post-punk motifs, and disarmingly frank lyricism. The Colorado-based couple, Flogging Molly bassist Nathen Maxwell and his singer-songwriter wife, Shelby, lightheartedly dub their singular sound Mountain Goth. Organic, haunting, and relentlessly authentic, VOLORES' broad appeal lies in its raw channeling of the mortal condition, including mental health struggles that they've not only experienced, but experienced together. Simple yet effortlessly beautiful, Ages celebrates the shared musical passions that brought the Maxwells together, from Leonard Cohen and Elliot Smith to the Cure and Interpol, through unfiltered expressions that cast deeply personal shadows in plain sight, coded only in intuitive melody and elegant songcraft. All right. Well, hi, Shelby and Nathen. Thank you so much for being on our podcast. We're really honored and excited to have you.
Thank you so much, Emily. We're very, very excited to be here.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
Great, wonderful. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourselves, where you live, where you're from, and kind of a little bit about your musical journeys.
Yeah, my name is Nathen. I'm married to Shelby, Nathen Maxwell, and I grew up in California, where I started playing music at a young age and joined the group Flogging Molly as a very young man, and I've been playing with the same group for almost 30 years now, 28 years. Moved to Colorado about 15 plus years ago, and we live here in El Paso County, Colorado, and we have our musical group VOLORES together.
That's wonderful. Both wonderful, excellent bands. So we'll certainly link to them in the show notes for people who want to check you out if they haven't heard you already. And what about you, Shelby? Kind of what's your origin story?
I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. Met Nathen in 2016 and was already heading out west at that time. Made a stop off in Colorado to see him and kind of never left. So I've been doing music for about the last 10, 11 years myself. And yeah, like Nathen said, we started doing VOLORES together in 2020 and just been creating music with the person I love most ever since.
That sounds like the dream. So, of course, you guys are successful, excellent musicians, but this is a disability podcast. So, tell us a little bit about your work with the nonprofit Punk Rock Saves Lives and kind of how that ties in with mental health and disability.
Well, we started working with Punk Rock Saves Lives. They were working on a bone marrow drive with their charity called Love, Hope, Strength, and that's how I got involved. And that charity has evolved into Punk Rock Saves Lives, and I know that they are creating awareness for mental health issues, just letting people know about resources that exist. And coming from the punk rock community and being tied into the music scene, it's a pretty natural fit for me to work with them. Again, I did work with them when they were on the Bone Marrow Drive with Love, Hope, Strength. So that's kind of how our relationship began. They're also, they've developed into some of our best friends as well. Some of the people that are behind the scenes and on the front line of the charity. So we do spend personal time with them as well. And we do have a lot of respect for the work that they're doing and the mission that they have.
Yes, Rob and Tina, the founders behind Punk Rock Saves Lives, they've made it their mission to destigmatize a lot of different things, including mental health and therapy and taking care of yourself. And we just think that's really admirable. A lot of people, especially in the music industry, in the punk scene as well, feel as though, it's not something easily talked about. They're changing that narrative, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest challenges for people with invisible disabilities in general is, just that it can be hard to talk about. And you can feel like if I share that part of myself, people might look at me differently or treat me differently. So we know, of course, those invisible disabilities are common but can be sometimes difficult to manage. So, what is your advice for people who have depression or anxiety and want to sort of find a path towards peace?
I would say to anybody who is struggling, who needs the help, there are so many resources available. And the good news is in recent years, I feel like this destigmatization has been happening full force. These younger generations really are truly bringing invisible illnesses like mental health issues to light. and putting it in the face of employers and family members and anybody else who might have made them once feel bad. Now they're saying absolutely not. This is real. More people than you can even imagine experience it. In fact, your mother or father who might have once, made you feel like you couldn't talk about that, probably have had some form of depression or anxiety in their life as well. Lean into that. Lean into the resources that are kind of being thrown out there now, the help that exists. Lean into your circle, your people, and those that you love. The people that you love and that love you will understand and will want to help you get the help that you need and deserve. There's nothing wrong and nothing bad about the way that you are feeling.
That was well said. Just that knowing that those resources are there, knowing that it might seem difficult to make that first step to reach out and call somebody or go visit somebody, but I myself have experienced going through those steps and utilizing some of these resources. And, I'm grateful to say that the experience has been pleasant and those resources are out there. So yeah, just to reiterate what Shelby was saying, I agree.
Yeah, that's great advice. And Shelby, I know you have a song that's sort of special, around this topic. It's called Carry On Cry. And first I'll say it's a wonderful song. I've listened to it on repeat since I heard about it. But can you tell us a little bit about that song?
Well, thank you so much for saying that. It is very near and dear to my heart. I wrote that song it was funny. I was working on a different song and I was working with I was trying to figure out a title for it. And it kept coming back to Carrion, and I was talking to Nathen. He was on tour. I said, but I keep coming back to this title, and I just feel like it deserves its own song, and I want to work on it on its own. And he said, do that. Write a song about what you're thinking. And I was like, cool. What I'm thinking is carrion, right, is the decaying flesh of a dead animal.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to get a carry on cry, because in that death and decay that you can feel, right, as your mind is all over the place, telling you you're not enough, telling you life is awful. The song itself is about letting all of that kind of fall off of you. And in that decay, finding growth and rebirth and to carry on through what you're feeling. It is very much a song about mental health and the struggles that we all experience and feel in life, but not allowing it to break you. Instead, choosing to fight. It's not an easy fight. It takes work and effort and a little bit of pain and anguish sometimes. But if you want to choose to cry out that you can do this, I feel like I'm stumbling over this.
Well, it's hard. I see your struggle. It's hard, at least for me. I find it hard to describe your poetry without using the poetry itself, right? Or to describe the feeling of music. It's like one of my favorite quotes is, talking about music is like dancing about architecture.
Yeah.
It's not it doesn't, perfectly translate, right?
Yeah.
The music itself has something profound in it. And I say profound because for me, that song is very profound. I didn't write those words, but they resonate in my heart. And that song, I personally experienced the healing power of music when I listen to and perform that song, because it does help me out with just my day to day. As silly as that might sound, but it's the truth. That's how I feel about music in general, the music that touches my soul and my heart. And, many songs by many different artists have that power, and that's definitely one of them.
Yeah, I would say, to summarize, there are dark, bad parts in all of us that we struggle with. The song itself is about allowing those to die within you, and that there is nothing wrong with the death of pieces of you, because it feels a little bit with mental health like you lose parts of yourself, right? There's nothing wrong with losing a little bit of yourself if it means allowing space for growth within yourself, space for other emotions and feelings to come in, to try to fight a lot of those things that you're feeling. And I think that's ultimately what Cure and Cry is about.
Yeah, it's really powerful. And I'll definitely say, as a person with some mental health conditions myself, it definitely resonates for me. And I feel that sort of, that transformative hopefulness of it. And, I hadn't even put that together about carry on and carry on, that sort of double entendre. I think that's really powerful. So, and with your permission, I'd love to, insert a little clip of the song in this episode for people to kind of hear that. And of course, we'll link to it on Spotify as well.
Of course.
Please do.
Please do.
Awesome. So, I'm curious to know a little bit of what you all think of the Americans with Disabilities Act. I mean, obviously, that's kind of why we're here. That's why the ADA Center exists. We're hopefully providing information on the ADA, and always interested to know kind of what are your thoughts on the civil rights law? What do you know about it? When did you learn about it? That type of thing.
Yeah, I learned about the Americans with Disabilities Act probably in high school, I want to say. And you kind of briefly touch on it, the help that it provides to Americans with any type of disability or struggle. But I never really connected deeply with it until my son was born. My son, Leonard, has autism. It was pretty obvious when he was at the pediatrician at 18 months old, but they told me I couldn't get him truly diagnosed until he was about 5. And so I took him to a neuropsych at 5 years old. And sure enough, very quickly, they diagnosed him with autism spectrum disorder. And I will say the ADA has helped us immensely between the services we get at his school to something as silly as going to Disneyland. He has problems waiting in line and, being around loud noises and being patient. He gets kind of fidgety and restless, and he starts to feel a little confined and needs to go for walks and needs to exist in his own way that feels comfortable to him. And so something as simple as us going to Disney can be hard because that's asking of him to wait in hours long lines, depending on the day or the time, right? So having the Americans with Disabilities Act, help through that, and they offer these services through Disney that he doesn't have to wait in line. We just mark our place in line and then we show up an hour and a half later to the front. It made things so much easier and made me as a mother feel like I could breathe. He's been thriving. I don't worry as much about his social cues and emotional cues with his peers, knowing that he has these providers who know his quirks and his tics and what bothers him and what he excels at, and that they can keep an eye and be present with him throughout the day and know that they're helping him as much as I'm helping him at home, as much as we work with him at home.
Also, having that peace of mind into the future as our son becomes a young man into his adulthood, just knowing that the services are there, it makes you feel good. It does give you a sense of peace of mind. And I'm very grateful for that.
That he won't ever be discriminated against for a job or for a place to live because of his diagnosis. In recent years, it's become more prevalent in our lives.
I see it also, just as a foundation of our values as people, that this exists and the great people behind it, they're doing the work. We're very filled with gratitude. So, to be, in any way to create awareness and just to talk about it. It's our life. We live it. And so, again, to be on this podcast talking about it is very, very natural and I think a positive thing.
It feels good. In America, we've been taught we're a melting pot, right? We accept people of all walks of life. And I really still do believe that about America and the American way. And people with disabilities should be and now are included in that, thanks to these laws, to make sure that they are included in the American dream. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. You really just hit on the spirit of the ADA, is just making sure everybody has access to fully participate in society, just giving everyone the same opportunities. That's really what it's all about. So, I'd like to know a little bit more about kind of your careers as musicians. What's, some of the work that you're most proud of and most passionate about?
Well, my ongoing work with Flogging Molly is something I'm very proud of. I've dedicated my life to that group and the fans. And, I'm so proud of the fact that we're touring at the level that we are and the fans are showing up worldwide to support us. We do some pretty fun things together. We have a cruise that we do, the Salty Dog Cruise. We just got off the 8th annual. We actually were able to bring our children on the cruise for the first time, which was pretty special that the success of that cruise has gotten to the point where, we can relax enough to bring the kids out. That's pretty awesome. I'm proud of that. We're also doing a St. Patrick's Day festival for the first time next year. We're launching with some other great bands in the Los Angeles area and then also Las Vegas. And just, just staying creative, staying inspired through it all, really with VOLORES, Shelby's and I songwriting partnership and what we've been able to create, and now we're out there playing live shows as VOLORES and having a lot of fun, making new memories together. So I'm just kind of proud of the whole journey, the fact that it exists, the fact that I'm have been able to make this a career and support the family, though I'm sure they'll tell you it hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not easy, but yes, absolutely worth it. Very grateful for the ability to create music and art and be who we are and have that as our careers. It feels really, really good. I'm obviously, I can't speak on the Flogging Molly aspect. That's more Nathan, but as far as VOLORES goes, yeah, I'm extremely proud of what we've been doing. We just released our debut album this year, and it's already received a bunch of love and accolades. We won Best Rock Album by Denver Westward, which is, Colorado's main music magazine this year. And
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. And a couple other, awards from local radio stations and things like that. We feel like we've gotten a lot of love, and when you kind of bare your soul to the world through your art, it feels that level of pride kind of swells up in you when it's received well. And it's not always received well. That's the truth, is that it's, there are times where you still have to keep that pride in what you're doing and that love of what you're doing when people are not getting it. And as hard as that is, it's also not, because you just have to believe that what you're bearing to the world is the message you want to give, and that you're doing the right thing each time. So
yeah, when it comes to music, and it's a really interesting experience that I have, in the sense that, and I know a lot of other artists have this experience where you will play with a group and you'll have some great success, and you'll play in front of packed houses, thousands of people, or say hundreds of people, and then you do something different or something new, and you're starting from the beginning again. You're playing empty rooms, and it's a great reminder of why you did it, to begin with. And to me, the simple answer is you do it because you love it, and that's the cornerstone of it, is loving it genuinely, loving the music you're making. That's what pushes the hard times, the long drives, and the hard load-ins, and playing, losing money at the show. And, it's not all fun. It's not all like, oh, wow, we're living this adventure. You make it an adventure because you love it. If you don't love it, it's just a grind. So, you just keep staying humble and hungry, and remembering the core of why you do it to begin with, I think is just, for me, is kind of everything.
Yeah.
I love that. So where would you like listeners to connect with you after today's episode? Where can listeners find you and figure out where you're touring and all that?
We have a couple different places. VOLORESband.com is the best, easiest way to find everything, including tour dates, music, anything that you want to know about us, our socials. If you're strictly social media and you don't like going to websites, @VOLORESband is our handle on pretty much everything. And then if you don't want to do socials and you just want to go straight to the music, we're just VOLORES on any type of streaming platform. So Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, we're on it all. YouTube, we've got some fun videos on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely check out the YouTube channel. I'm really proud of the videos we made.
Especially Carry and Cry.
Especially Carry and Cry. We touched on the subject matter, and then, creating a visual accompaniment for that was really fun. And we went with the inspiration from the original Nosferatu film as, kind of that monster inside of you. If anyone's curious, definitely go on YouTube and check that video out.
Yeah, I'll vouch for that too. I watched the YouTube video. It's really cool, and we'll link it in the show notes as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
And what about you, Nathen, with Flogging Molly? Is there a good place to connect or learn more about that band?
There's a link tree on my Instagram that's at Nathen Maxwell, or you can just go to floggingmolly.com. That's Flogging Molly's everywhere. And again, a lot of exciting stuff coming up as far as the festival we're curating. I know that our next cruise is going to Jamaica, which is it's like beyond a bucket list dream come true for me and the family. So, yeah, check out floggingmolly.com. There should be links to really everything from there that you need.
That's awesome. All right. Well, as we wrap up today, is there anything else that you'd like to share with listeners, or anything that we didn't ask that we should have?
I don't think anything that you didn't ask that you should have, but the one last thing I would like to say is just reiterating that it's okay to not be okay. And the more we talk about it and bring it to light and go and get the help and seek the help that we deserve, the less stigmatized and awful it will feel. Be proud to be broken and be proud to get help, because that means that you're growing and moving forward, that you're not staying stagnant in something that feels so big and awful at times. We all experience it, whether people talk about it or not. Everybody goes through it at some point or another, and it's okay.
As hard as this might seem sometimes just doing the next right thing is all you can do. It's all you need to do. It's really all you need to do. It's just that next right thing. So if that's picking up the phone or whatever that simple thing is, that's all you should really worry about.
Even if that's just getting out of bed today.
Yeah, just getting up and stretching or having a glass of water.
Yeah, that's the next right thing. It doesn't have to be so big.
Right.
It can be little baby steps towards it.
Open up the curtains.
Yeah.
Right.
Take the tinfoil off the windows.
Well, Shelby and Nathen, thank you so much for your time today. This has been wonderful talking to you.
And thank you so much, Emily. We really appreciate being on with you today.
Here's VOLORES with Carry On Cry.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Adventures in Accessibility. Tune in next time for another dive into the unknown.
Adventures in Accessibility is hosted by Emily Schumann, and Jessica Lucinia is our sound engineer. This podcast is a project of the Rocky Mountain ADA Center and is funded under a grant from the National Institute on Disability, Independent Living, and Rehabilitation Research, grant number 90DPAD0014. This production is intended solely for entertainment and informal guidance and should not be considered legal advice. The opinions expressed by guests are not necessarily held or endorsed by the Rocky Mountain ADA Center.